Was pre-Islamic Arabia really barbaric? Whether you are a Muslim or not, and especially if you are one, you might have heard a few accounts about the pre-Islamic Arabia, mostly referring to the pre-Islamic era as Jahiliyyah, meaning the age of ignorance. However, it's worth doing some research about the history and cultures of that period to see if that is really the case. Where is Arabia? First, let's see which geographical area Arabia refers to on the map. In the pre-Islamic era, the geographical area referred to as Arabia generally encompassed the Arabian Peninsula and its northern extensions into the Syrian desert. Now, let's discuss various aspects of life of pre-Islam Arabians, which is the topic of this video. Literacy. While formal education systems as we know them now were not widespread, there's significant evidence of literacy in pre-Islamic Arabia, particularly in certain regions and among specific groups. Tens of thousands of inscriptions and graffiti have been found across pre-Islamic Arabia, indicating widespread literacy among both settled and nomadic populations in some areas. These inscriptions provide insights into daily life, social structures, and even personal emotions. Diverse scripts. Various languages and distinct families of alphabets were used, suggesting a vibrant written culture. Trade and administration. Literacy was essential for trade, which flourished in regions like southern Arabia, with connections to the Levant and Egypt, and for administrative purposes in established kingdoms. Poetry. Pre-Islamic Arabian society had a highly developed oral tradition, with poetry playing a central role. While oral, the existence of complex poetic forms often suggests a sophisticated linguistic understanding that can be linked to a broader cultural appreciation for language, which can foster literacy. Civilization. The next thing we want to talk about is the civilization of pre-Islam Arabia. Pre-Islamic Arabia was home to several distinct civilizations and developed societies, not a monolithic barbaric state. Ancient kingdoms. The Arabian Peninsula saw the rise and fall of several significant kingdoms and civilizations long before Islam. Examples include Thamud, which flourished from around 3000 BCE to 300 CE. Dilmun, a major trading center in eastern Arabia, modern-day Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, and Oman, controlling Persian Gulf trade routes. Sabaean Kingdom, in southern Arabia, modern-day Yemen, known for its advanced irrigation systems, including the famous Marib Dam, and extensive trade networks. This kingdom existed in Yemen between 1000 BCE to 275 CE. Himyarite Kingdom, another influential South Arabian kingdom, which lived between 110 BCE to 525 CE. Nabatean Kingdom, in North Arabia, which was annexed by Rome in 106 CE, known for its impressive architecture like Petra. Urban centers. Cities like Mecca, Medina, which is another name for Yathrib, and Ta'if were important commercial and religious hubs, engaging in long-distance trade. Mecca in particular was a significant center for caravan trade and housed the Kaaba, which was a revered polytheistic shrine. Social structures. While tribal organization was prominent, particularly among the Bedouins, settled communities had more complex social hierarchies. including merchants, religious scholars, and a recognized elite. Economic activities. The economy was diverse, including trade, especially the incense route, pastoralism, which referred to camel herding, and limited agriculture, with advanced techniques like terracing and irrigation in fertile regions. Barbarism. The next thing we want to discuss is barbarism. Were pre-Islamic Arabians really barbarians? How accurate is this description, used mostly by Muslims? While certain practices existed that might be deemed barbaric by modern standards, such as intertribal warfare, blood feuds, and female infanticide in some tribes, these should be understood within their own historical context and not as representative of the entire Arabian Peninsula. First, regarding tribal conflicts, the absence of a centralized authority in much of Arabia led to frequent conflicts and raids between tribes. However, these were often governed by specific codes of conduct and honor. Female infanticide. While sometimes practiced, particularly in times of famine or for socio-economic reasons, historical evidence suggests that it was not a universal or constant practice across the entire peninsula, and may have been declining in some areas before Islam. Religious diversity. Pre-Islamic Arabia was religiously diverse, with polytheism being prevalent, but also significant communities of Christians and Jews, particularly in North and South. This indicates a degree of religious pluralism and established polytheistic traditions. Oral law and customs. In the absence of codified laws in many areas, disputes were often resolved through tribal customs, arbitration by elders, and the influence of powerful figures. So to wrap up this video, despite the fact that Muslims often like to call the period before Islam Jahiliyyah, this is not a just description of that time, given the diverse societies, established trade networks, literacy, distinct civilization, and poetic art that existed at that time. As a rule of thumb, you cannot build something powerful without a powerful base. For example, one reason that Quran gained huge attention was its articulate use of Arabic language structs, as people were fans of language art and poetry, and they could actually see and appreciate the verbal and lingual beauty in the Quran verses. This makes them not jahil or ignorant people, rather literate and art-loving people. So to finish this video, the characterization of the entire Arabian region as uniformly illiterate, uncivilized, and barbaric is obviously false and does not align with historical and archaeological findings.